So what kind of person uses podcasting as a leadership tool? What have you found?
Yeah, well, the route that they usually come through is there'll be some kind of discussion, maybe in a leadership team, and they'll go down the path of saying we need to communicate this information to people, and ideally ideally we could do with telling people directly, not just putting out PowerPoints, but we could do with talking to people. And as soon as people start to wonder about, well, how can we talk to people? Maybe they'll talk about a town hall, an electronic digital town hall. But quite often what happens then is people say, well, if we want to talk to people but we can't actually get in front of them, well, how about trying podcasting? And that's when they get in touch and say, can you help? I had a really good example last year, which was a really fun project to be involved with, where one pharmaceutical company had a group of very senior statisticians like you, who had got a lot of experience of working with government agencies, with regulatory authorities. But what they found was there were also a much larger group of newer, younger intake statisticians who didn't have any experience of doing this. And they wanted a way of passing on the wisdom of the senior, more experienced people. And they realized that actually just downloading it to a manual or a set of slides wasn't really going to do it, particularly for some of the more subtle, sort of experience-based, tacit knowledge type stuff. And so they arrived at the idea of, well, how about trying podcasts? And they got in touch with us, gave us the contract. And, well, you were involved. It was great fun interviewing.
Yes.
7 or 8 of their top guys, hearing their stories, hearing them talk about, the kind of things you need to do to prepare, and some really good stories as well, which really illustrated the point. And one that sticks in my mind was the guy that told us about his worst experience, where he started off with a heartfelt groan and then related this story of how he'd got into a terrible argument with a German professor of statistics, and the meeting had gone sour.
Yeah, just hearing that story leaves a mark on my brain.
But that's the route. It's where you get leaders that know that the best way to get across their point to people is to actually talk to the point and have people hear them. And ideally they would want to go and sit on the edge of the desk of every person that they want to talk to, but they can't, because the people they want to connect to are dispersed all over the world, maybe different locations. And the great thing about capturing a podcast is if you structure it properly, and if you have the kind of conversation that you would like to have with everybody, but then you let other people eavesdrop, if you like, listening in on that conversation, it's a very, very good substitute. And because the other thing that we get a lot of feedback on, positive feedback on, is audiences really like the fact that they can connect when they want and where they want. So if you're going to have a town hall, it's going to be 1 p.m. on Friday, and different time zones have to connect with it, and maybe it doesn't fit with other project sort of commitments. But a podcast, particularly if you make it downloadable, which we do, then you can just download it, listen to it anywhere you want. I've had lots of stories about people listening in the car. That's very common. Some people listen in the gym. One person even said to me that she liked to listen to it while she was doing her ironing. So anywhere, anytime.